Hello, and thanks for joining. My name's Jeff Demuth, and I'm a Solutions Architect at AWS. Last week I did a video on running Esri's GeoAnalytics Engine in EMR, or Elastic MapReduce. It's one of our AWS services. It's a managed Hadoop Spark environment. Well, we also have a service for ETL and analytics called AWS Glue. And so in this video, I'm going to show how to run Esri's GeoAnalytics Engine in a Glue Notebook. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. So with EMR, when you spin up that cluster, it's much more customizable. I mean, you can pick the very specific modules that get loaded into the cluster. With Glue, it's pretty much set up for you. There's a few templates that you can choose from, but not much. You're either going to run a Python job or Spark, but it's much more simpler to set up and get running. So in Glue, you go to the console here, you click on Notebook. We'll say I want to author a new notebook. We can upload one or start with a brand new notebook. So we'll click Create. And we'll let that spin up. And there we go. So they pre-populate just some example steps that you can run. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And it's got really good integration with like the Glue catalog, for example. So down here, you can actually create a Spark frame or dynamic frame directly from your catalog. You can specify the database name in the catalog and the table name. Those are really powerful capabilities. We'll go ahead and clean all this out. We're going to start with a completely empty notebook. And then one thing to keep an eye on is just active sessions. You can only have 3 active sessions. Currently I don't have any active sessions, so I'm good to start a new one. We're going to define our kind of the resources on the back end. So I'm going to pick my Glue version and my worker type. I'm going to use a G1 instance, and I'm going to use 2 of those. If we click here, you can see these are the specifications. So a G1 instance gives me, it's called 1 DPU, data processing unit. It's 4 cores, 16 gigs of memory. We're going to have 2 of these workers. So I've already uploaded my jar files to S3. It's really easy to import those. You upload them to S3, the jar file and the wheel file, and run this command to bring them into the Spark environment. We'll set up the extra parameters that Esri requires, so the cryo register, serializer, the plugin. And now we can run some of those Glue setup commands. This will take maybe 30 seconds to run. All right, so now we're ready. And we can call our favorite command, import GeoAnalytics. I'm going to go ahead and authorize. So you can specify the license file, but actually what worked for me was opening my ECP file and actually copying the string out and pasting it in here. So it kind of looked like something like that with a bunch of random letters. For some reason it wasn't able to pick up the file locally, but this worked, so pretty easy. We'll make sure that the authorization is working. There we can see it's authorized. And so similar to the last video I did with EMR, we'll just read in a Parquet file from Overture. And again, this will probably take 30 seconds. There we go, it's done. We'll create that view out of it so we can start running SQL queries. We'll run a sample select query just to see what some of that data looks like. So there we go, we got some results back. Let's describe our table. So similar to before, you can see the geometry, the names. So let's run our query. Let's look for all the different Marriotts in Austin, because we're planning a vacation again. And then let's see the results of that. And so Glue's set up really cool too, because you can save this notebook and then turn around and run it as an ETL job. So I could basically fine-tune this so that it could be rerun, and I could have it on a scheduled job to run every night or every hour. It's really well integrated with the Glue ecosystem, or Glue service, and the other offerings inside of the Glue service. And there we go. We can see a couple different hotels here were returned with their coordinates. Now in the last video I mentioned, when you run these Jupyter notebooks kind of outside of the cluster, sometimes the visualizations get tricky. So in the EMR demo, I was able to create an iframe and use some ArcGIS JavaScript to display a map. The GeoAnalytics library actually has some really good visualization libraries built in as well. You can just call like spatially enabled data frame .show, I think, or you can do .publish and push it up to ArcGIS Online and view it there. But with here in Glue, I don't have any visualization capabilities to visualize this. I could probably do something simple with matplotlib, but that's the extent of it. So you would want to visualize this somewhere else. And that's kind of the point of these ETL notebooks, is really you want the logic of parsing the data and creating it as part of a pipeline, and not really an interactive editing session, although some of those capabilities are there. The other thing I want to talk about too is the pricing for Glue is a little bit more expensive than EMR because it's a higher level, more fully managed service. So in our EMR demo, we had 3 nodes, and it was about 60 cents an hour to run those nodes. These are similarly sized nodes, and it's about 44 cents per DPU per hour. And so you could see we actually had 2 DPUs because we had 2 G1 instances, so it was about 88 cents an hour compared to the 3 nodes we had in EMR, so it was a little bit more processing power. So a little bit of a price premium for notebook, for Glue and Glue notebooks. Another big benefit of EMR is actually it has the ability to use EC2 spot instances. So The instances we were using were 20 cents an hour. If you use spot instances, you can save up to 75% off of that, sometimes even more. So really, really good cost savings using EMR, but there's also more management and overhead required to manage EMR. And so with that, that's all I had for this video. If you liked it, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. Thanks for joining.